Edge Match. You're at Edge Match. Edge Match. Don't miss Edge Match. Don't miss Edge Match. You're at Edge Match. Edge Match. Don't miss Edge Match. Don't miss Edge.
Hey, what is up, EduLaunch fam? It's so good to see you all. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on this special night where we are launching Aubrey Bright in the games we play. So we have here our amazing authors. We have Jen Casa-Todd and Lee Cassell, our authors of Aubrey Bright in the game we play. So great to have you all here for the second time. This is the second one in the series that you're launching. So super excited to have y'all here. So for those in the EduLaunch community who may not know you, if y'all could please introduce yourselves.
Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
Absolutely. I will start. I am a longtime EduMatcher. Sarah connected me with so many amazing educators lots and lots of years ago. And so I'm so appreciative of that community, and now publishing for, I guess, the second, maybe even third time, if we count an EduSnap. So I am Jennifer Casa-Todd. I am a teacher librarian in Ontario, Canada. I'm also the author of a couple of other books, Social Media, Moving Students from Digital Citizenship to Digital Leadership. Parent companion to that, Raising Digital Leaders. And we also co-authored, Lee and I, the first Aubrey Bright book, which is Aubrey Bright in the Stories That Connect Us. So our first children's book. And I have contributed to other books as well. It seems to be a passion of mine. I'm also a speaker, a keynote speaker and workshop presenter, a mom, and I just love being a mom of adult girls. So that's been such a joy for me as well. That's a little bit about me. I'm involved in other things, but it's all good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jen. It was great to get your introduction, your reintroduction. All right, we'll go next to Lee.
Thank you. And thank you for hosting this tonight. It's been such a wonderful experience to be part of the EduMatch family. Just appreciate you, Sarah, and the team over at EduMatch. So thank you. My name is Lee Castle. I'm an educator by trade, entrepreneur at heart. I still do teach in the public education system. And I'm also CEO and founder of an educational resource called Digital Human Library. And so that's really, I think, in some ways where my heart and soul resides in the work that we do, connecting students with industry experts around the world for educational programs and just amazing opportunities for learning. In addition to that, I am a proud mother of two. My two are teenagers now, which has been really, really fun. And I'll speak a little bit to the role my son played in the inspiration to the book that we're going to speak to later today. And aside from that, I still contribute in different ways in the educational space. I do speak as a keynote speaker. And I think my book, the book that Jen and I co-authored, I try to so backwards here, is over on this side today. And I can't even figure out how to move myself. Anyway, our book is right here that Jen showed you earlier. And that was the first book we published with EduMatch. And really a highlight for sure. And we're super excited to launch our second book tonight with you.
Well, thank you so much, Lee. It's great to have you back, and it's super geek to have you here. And we also have joining us, we have June. Hey, June, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing great, thanks. Doing great. If you could please introduce yourself.
Okay, sure, yeah. So, my name's June Fermani. I'm currently 22 years old. I'm an artist. I've been doing illustrations and art since I was little. There's not particularly one form of art that I like. I love doing digital work and doing physical art. It's always been a passion of mine. So, the first time I got the opportunity to illustrate the first book, I was so excited. It was one of my dreams was to be a children's illustrator. So after that, when the second opportunity came around, I was so excited, and I still am. It's incredible to be able to illustrate something like this.
Well, thank you so much. And it's great to have you and to have all three of you in our EduMatch family. So thank you so much for being here. And thank you all so much for everything that you do. So I know that folks are very excited to hear about the book. So let me just ask y'all the first question. What was the inspiration behind writing Aubrey Bright and the Games We Play?
Well, I'm going to share just a little bit about our book, which, touches on the inspiration, and then I'll speak to that a little more deeply. Aubrey Bright in the Games We Play tackles the topic of online gaming and explores gender roles and friendship. So two very important pieces to our work, as well as online safety and etiquette. Digital citizenship is a passion of ours, and it was really exciting to be able to explore that topic in this story. Our book showcases some of the benefits of gaming, of course, while also exploring the importance of developing those digital citizenship skills. And one of the inspirations behind this book was my son, Ty, who is also one of the characters in the story, or at least loosely based. The character is loosely based on my son, Ty. He's much nicer to his sister in real life, maybe sometimes, most of the time. But my son is a gamer. And, I think Jen can attest to the fact that gaming gets a bad rap. And gaming creates so many incredible opportunities for kids to build relationships with others online and connect and collaborate, problem solve and think critically. And plus, they get to explore and, depending on the game they're playing, create all kinds of exciting new worlds. So when you take a look at, the multitude of skills that that gaming helps students develop, it's really a really powerful tool for learning. I'm sure, as Jen would speak to as well, in moderation, of course. So, making sure that we're managing our screen time and balancing the time we spend online and offline. But really, what inspired the story was trying to talk about gaming in a way that addresses some of those negative, negative vibes around it, some of the stereotypes maybe that are associated with kids who game, while also exploring the positive outcomes of gaming. Do you want to add to that, Jen?
No, I would say I think we were both inspired by Ty, but we all have gamers in our lives, right? My niece and nephew, it seems like every time we get together, they're on their device and gaming. And so being really curious about what they're doing and how they're doing it is a really wonderful approach. And that's kind of what we wanted this book to be. We wanted to not have a negative, sometimes fear-mongering approach that we see sometimes when we talk about gaming or digital citizenship. And so I think the inspiration was that gaming is all around us, and we know that kids are engaging in these spaces, and we just thought it would be a great setting for a story and for some character development. Maybe, June, what were you inspired by in terms of the drawings? Because we wrote the story and you depicted them.
Personally speaking, I'm actually not too much of a gamer, but I definitely understand the points that you guys were making. I mean, in this day and age, it's incredible the type of games we're able to produce. I do think that it's really great how many like different worlds and like stories that people can like start from like nothing into make into like this great thing. It's a conversation starter for sure. Like and I think it's definitely its own form of creativity building. You can definitely like become so creative and inspired off of things like these. So yeah.
Yeah, totally, totally. I love that. How you touched on how gaming is a form of creativity as well. So absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so similar question. Why was creating this book important to you all? You talked about the inspiration behind it, but why was it important for you to get the story out into the world?
I think Lee touched upon the importance of this too when she talked about her inspiration. And Lee and I, we met years ago online, honestly, and then had the privilege of meeting face to face and then collaborating both online and face to face throughout COVID on this journey, as well as we met a few times in person. And so what's very important to both of us is having ongoing courageous conversations around digital citizenship, using technology responsibly and ethically. And we feel like sometimes there is always a negative approach. And our approach has always been very asset-based, right? Very strengths-based. We want to show kids that they can connect to others in the world. That's an incredible thing. We want them to be able to explore their creativity, to be able to problem solve, all of those things that happen with gaming and with using technology in general. Both Lee and I, we didn't talk about it in the introductions, but we co-founded something called the Global Student Chat. And that's just another way where we want to amplify student voices, forge positive connections, and have students use technology for good. And so that really is why this book is important. But beyond that, I think what ended up happening when we were trying to devise these characters and think about, their motivations and what they would do, and of course, how are they using technology safely. What we didn't want was some sort like a very pedantic kind of book. We wanted to explore a story. And what we love about this story, and why I think it's also really important, my niece, Ashlyn Casa, she is 14 years old, and she read this book and reviewed it. And she's the gamer I was telling you about. But one of the things that she loved about the book was the complexity of the friendships, because she's experiencing that right now. So that's another layer why we think this is important, because it isn't a do this or don't do this in a gaming situation. It explores a friendship, conflict resolution, which kids all need to or have to tackle in some ways. It explores a sibling relationship, a grandmother-daughter relationship, and all of these layers, right? These online, offline situations are what our kids are experiencing all the time. So we think that there's definitely an important lesson, several important lessons in this book.
Well said.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that is fantastic. And yes, it is multi-layered. It's like an onion, but like a delicious onion. So absolutely love that. Okay. So who would you all say is the audience for your story?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because, when you look at the ages of the characters in the book, it's very well suited for an elementary aged audience. But there are so many practical applications for introducing a story like this in a high school setting, to start some of those really important conversations, as Jen just alluded to, with about friendship and relationships and the challenges that arise as a result of the persona that we portray in real life, and the persona that we have online, and how those in some cases can be conflicting or cause conflict. So I think that one layer is really important. And again, talking about our book at a high school level, there are so many little bits in our story that are great conversation starters for high school students to talk about their digital footprint, how they're engaging in online games and what they're doing, and having students think more metacognitively about their work in online spaces, and especially when they're playing video games, right? What is it that you're getting out of the experience of gaming? So we really do see our book serving a wide audience for a number of different reasons. And I think it has a lot of really solid practical applications for students in elementary and secondary school.
Totally.
And I would just add middle school, because the way our Ontario education works, we have elementary K-8, and then we have grade 9 through 12. But I know a lot of the states have elementary, middle, and then secondary. So middle is well in there.
Great point.
That's a great point to add. Thank you so much. Yeah. So we do have a sub question, another question for June. So could you talk about the process of how you created the illustrations, please?
Yeah. So the most greatest part about being an artist is the whole creation process, starting from nothing and then creating something nice. So The illustrations. Honestly, I could have gotten inspiration from anything. It's been a while since I've illustrated the images, but one of my favorite parts is that as an artist, when you create something, you grow, especially if you make like a character, you grow attached to that character, right? So one of the great parts about like Aubrey getting another story is that you see like her world expanding and that she's still a kid, right? So she's still learning lessons, right? And like how to like handle, you see more about her friendships and her kind of relationship with her brother. Like the first one was kind of focused around her relationship with her grandma, but this time her grandma's kind of like a little bit of a lesson giver rather than more like the two characters. Like this time it's her and her brother. So it's like really like great to create like a character that just becomes like more, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. Totally. And I love the fact that it's like the same character and we see her get a little older and more mature in this book. So I thought that was super cool. And looking at the illustrations and seeing her in the first book being a little younger and in this book being like a little bit more grown up, that was super cool to see. So love that evolution. Fantastic. Okay. So what other resources do you all suggest for readers and where can they find you?
So I'll start with the resources. So even though my mother-in-law didn't agree with this, we added conversation starters and ground rules for gaming in our book. And the reason we wanted the conversation starters, I mean, certainly they would naturally come up anyway. I mean, a gifted teacher who's reading a story aloud to kids would certainly pause and say, what about this, right? Like that naturally happens. But we wanted to unpack some of the really important conversations that can be had as well. Again, because Lee and I really want to focus on the digital citizenship element. And that's not everyone's comfort zone, or they may not think of that necessarily. So we wanted to include that. We wanted to include some of the ideas about strategies that they use to solve problems with kids, with other kids, talking about limits to screen time, advice for Ty to stay safe online, those kinds of things. And the ground rules for gaming we thought would be a really great resource for teachers to explore with students, and then to get their input. Like, how many of these are the rules that you use in your family? You know, what does that look like? And it might give them ideas for possible ground rules that aren't currently being used. So we also see, as much as we see this being used in schools, certainly a parent whose children are gaming, this would be a wonderful resource for them to use at home too. And again, those resources equip them with some questions that, again, may not come up naturally because they're not teachers. So we're really excited about being able to offer those resources at the back of the book. I'm also so excited to share on my blog and on Twitter. So if you follow me on Twitter, or X now, I guess, or Blue Sky or Threads, I'm so excited to be sharing June's illustration. So what she uses, and maybe you could tell them more about this because I don't really understand it, June, but all I know is I see a blank page and then I see a video of the illustration coming to life. So we're going to be sharing those in the coming weeks on our social media account. So I'm at jcasatodd, and I also blog at jencasatodd.com.
Thanks, Jen. And you can find me at Lee Castle or at DHL_EDU on X. You can also find me at Digital Human Library or on LinkedIn. If you search Digital Human Library, you can also connect with us on Facebook. So yeah, June, how about you? Where can people find you?
Actually, I currently don't have any available social media to offer at the moment, but I can build off of Jen's question about how I created the images. So once again, it's one of the beautiful things about technology is that I use a single digital app called Procreate. And the good thing about Procreate is that it naturally saves your progress as you keep on drawing. And a nice little feature about it is that it naturally has a time lapse option. So you don't have to turn anything on. You could just keep drawing, like not thinking about anything. And then once you're done your image, there's a feature for you to, you just click it and then it's like download time lapse and you can choose how long to make it. And yeah, that's basically it. So it starts off with the skeleton drawing, like me trying to put things in place. And then once I get that in, I'd like clean it up, and then I ink it, and then I color it, and then I shade it. And yeah, so it's pretty cool. It's almost like I don't have to do anything, and it's already available to me. So that's great.
It's amazing. Well, I'm going to put a plug out for you, June. If you would like to get in touch with June to do some artwork for any of the books that you are writing or for any projects you are working on, please connect with Jen or myself, and we will absolutely help you get in touch with June.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is, again, I have to reiterate, it is such an honor to have you all as part of our EduMatch family. We love the work you do. So thank you to the three of you for just your amazing passion behind digital citizenship and behind Girl Gamers and behind just connecting and bringing that additive model of positivity to our students everywhere. So wanted to thank you all. Wanted to also thank our viewers. So we appreciate you, whether you are live or asynchronous or a podcast listener, whenever this podcast comes out. So you know that you'll be able to find our book on our EduMatch site or on Amazon or on Barnes & Noble. In addition, you can order in bulk and get a nice little discount in quantities of 10 or more by just filling out the link bit.ly/EduMatch So we're going to go ahead and leave you for tonight, but tune in next time that we have a launch. You know, we'll be very, very happy to see you all again. And once again, thank you so much for joining. So good night, everyone.
Thank you for believing in us, Sarah.
Oh, always. Thank you for all you do. Y'all are rock stars. All right.
It's EduMatch. EduMatch. It's EduMatch. You're at EduMatch. EduMatch. Don't miss EduMatch.